Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the Diversity Committee for allowing me this tremendous opportunity. Diversity in water. The bar has been kind of set pretty high by the previous presenters, so I'm ready to take on this challenge. Honored to be the new chairperson for the Diversity and Inclusion Committee for Ohio AWWA. And most importantly, I'm just excited to have so many people here to see my presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, I'm Mark Riley. I'm the administrator for the City of Toledo Public Utilities Water Distribution. So I'm huge on motivation. So throughout my presentation, you'll see slides that kind of set the tone for my leadership style. Like for example, this one, when a storm is coming, all the birds seek shelter. The eagle alone avoids the storm by flying above it. So in the storm of life, may your heart soar like an eagle. So throughout my career path, that's been my motivation right there, to always fly above anything to get to where God has guided me to get. So my career path has been a very interesting career path. As you can tell, I started my career with the City of Toledo. I came in at entry level, worked my way to foreman, and then I had an opportunity to go to the City of Dublin, where I became a supervisor for the City of Dublin, and I was responsible for the sewer and water, and not just sewer and water, but the parks and other divisions. When you look at my career path, you'll see a number of locations, but each one was a stepping stone for me to eventually become an administrator. I went from the City of Dublin to the City of Dayton, where I became the Public Works Manager. And from there, I went to the City of Durham, North Carolina. I was only in North Carolina for a short period because my parents were getting older and my dad got sick. So a great opportunity with the City of Toledo came, and I had an opportunity to come back home. And I'm enjoying being the administrator for the City of Toledo. My career path also was interesting because as I shared, I came in the City of Toledo just as an entry level, just as a laborer. And I didn't see myself as just being that person that was just a lifelong entry-level employee. I was pretty observant. I just loved the challenge. So I started asking questions on what do I need to advance in my career? And within about 6 months, I became a heavy equipment operator. And from there, and that's an interesting story because I'm the kind of guy that asks questions, and I used to ask our heavy equipment operators, how do you operate this? Can you show me what I need to know? And I was just blessed to have some older guys that had no problem teaching me that. During the entire process, I started kind of watching the system, and I became a union steward. Once I became a union steward, here I am about 25, 26 years old, and I'm a union steward representing a lot of seasoned employees. But they elected me, I guess, because they felt that I was a go-getter. I was probably kind of knowledgeable of our contract, but also it was just that knack. I just wanted to always be a leader, which allowed me to become a supervisor with the City of Toledo. And from there, I just went on, my career just keeps blossoming. So during that process in my career path, I became a certified public manager. I got my BA, got my MBA. I was really had a great opportunity with the City of Dayton Chamber of Commerce with their Leadership Dayton program. I've been very active with American Public Works Association. A lot of people know it by APWA. I was on the state board, I was on the national board. I was really excited on the national board because I had the opportunity to be part of the management and leadership committee. And I just really learned a lot, and it just has helped enhance my growth as a leader. I also was on the National Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, which my last term I served as the chairperson. So I was just excited to be, it's just been a very exciting ride for me. And now that I'm in water and I'm working for the public utilities for the city of Toledo, I said, why not get involved with AWWA? I had an opportunity to meet Sepna and Danita at a conference. They kind of twisted my arm when I told them my background, and I'm so glad that they did twist my arm because I'm excited with this our diversity and inclusion team. And as Sepna and Savina shared earlier, I start my term as the chairperson. And also I have a water distribution class, 2 certification. So just so many things through my career path that just have taken me in a good direction. So I always encourage a lot of new employees, seasoned employees, or employees who are looking for what do they need to get to the next level? What do they need to get in my chair? What do they need? So with that, what you need more than anything are really, really good mentors. Mentors that are going to guide you, mentors that are going to just give you the tools that you just can't get out of a book, tools that you just can't get out of reading, just tools of their life experiences. So when I use mentors, I have my parents. My parents were my first mentors. They gave me direction, they gave me structure, and they gave me discipline to hold myself accountable. And as a leader, you have to have that skill set to hold yourself accountable, hold yourself and keep yourself disciplined. So I'm going to kind of go clockwise on my mentor, because I start that first chapter, that first quarter was my parents. That second quarter, my number one mentor, and she's at the top, is Teresa Gabriel. You know, some of my buddies tease me like, wow, you had a woman as a mentor, but she was so tough. She kind of took me under her wing, and she gave me direction when I started with the Street Bridges and Harbor in the city of Toledo. But I'm not going to just talk about me, I'm going to talk about her and why she was such a great mentor. When I met her, she was a supervisor, and she went on to be supervisor, commissioner, director, chief of staff, and I think she might even been city council, because during that time period, I had left Toledo and moved to Columbus, Ohio. But she was never intimidated by anyone, and she pushed me, she was tough on me, but she saw a lot in me when I was 25, 26 that I really didn't see in myself. And I'm just when I think about it, I'm so happy that I had someone like her that saw in me and pushed me. Now the next person at 1 o'clock, he's our director. He's the director of public utilities for the city of Toledo. It's Ed Moore. He's my boss. You know, there's what we call role reversals. 20-some years ago, I was his mentor. I remember when, just like me, he came in entry level. He would ask me questions, and I would say, "Yeah, this is what you need to do." When I left Toledo, we stayed in touch, and I found out he became a commissioner of Street Bridges and Harbor, commissioner of the sewer department. You know, he's just continued to grow. And now he's the director of public works. And now when I say mentor for Ed had a task that was just, for those of you that are not from the city of Toledo, but heard about the city of Toledo, when we had our water crisis, Ed led the team, he led the city of Toledo through that. And he also helped establish the Regional Water Commission for the city of Toledo. So we weren't like Flint, but we could have, but Ed took the reins, and he really, really led the city of Toledo to where we're at now. And my next one, where you see the training and excellence, this gentleman, Curtis Truss, He's the executive director of operator training of Ohio, known as Octo. When I came back to the city of Toledo, he kind of took me under his wing and he really taught me the water distribution system. He helped me understand from the backflow to the distribution system, anything I needed to know coming into my role, I could call him and he could help me through it. So I always am indebted to him. And lastly is everyone knows Colin Powell. I had an opportunity to attend one of his speaking engagements, and I just left with an awe because of just his presence, just his style, and just his commitment to lead people and just lead by example. So I said, these people right here have given me the ability to become the leader that I want to be, that I continue to try to be, and just have given me so much direction. One of the things throughout my career, I pride myself on being able to create change in the organization. I used to feel like I was an outsider because I didn't see myself 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I didn't see anybody that really looked like me in the executive level. So in terms of seeing Black men at executive level, it just didn't exist, or I just didn't see it in Ohio or in Toledo. So throughout my career, I definitely encountered moments where I felt like I had to take a step back and just pause because of lack of diversity in the field and a lack of space to feel just authentic about my own career. And I really didn't see any representation. So for me, I said, how do I get around that? How do I network in? How do I say, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna let this stop me. I see growth. I know where I want to go. How do I encourage people? Most importantly, how do I bring somebody with me? And it's just motivated me to keep going to get to where I'm at this point in my career. Throughout my career, throughout my challenges, throughout my different agencies that I worked for, I faced challenges. I faced just the doubters like, hey, can this guy really do this job? Because he's the first person we ever had that looked like him. And I go through challenges and I used to wonder, is it me? Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I should just keep my head down and keep quiet. That's not who I am. And I learned to balance, to know how to communicate with people in a way that I make them feel comfortable, that they trust me. And I've always felt being transparent as a leader is what can help us be successful. So that's, as I start on my career path, I just looked at how and who can help lead me through this. Okay. I'm sorry, lost my mouse. I guess my mouse said I was talking too much and it went to sleep. Okay. So I mentioned the old Ohio Certified Public Manager Program. The Ohio Certified Public Management Program is a comprehensive, nationally certified development program for selected state and local government leaders to participate in a one-year program that is geared toward public management and leadership. And it consisted of like 19 customized workshops and a capstone project. Part of this program had like leadership style, change management, knowledge transfer, strategic planning, just to name a few of them. part of this program, which enhanced to put me to where I'm at, was we had to create a capstone and come up with an idea of how we can improve the services for our current employee, something that they didn't have, something that we needed. So at the time, I was with the city of Dublin, and we didn't have a stormwater system maintenance program. So with my team, who you can see on the picture, we created this program that the city of Dublin, Ohio still uses at this right now. And it's funny, if you look at the slide, and you see the sinkhole in Toledo, Ohio, and this sinkhole where a car fell in the street in 2013. When I did this capstone, I had no idea that I would be back in the city of Toledo running the division that is part of the sinkhole. So it's just amazing how times go. Part of my growth in part is the motivation. When I say motivation, as I shared earlier, I came in entry level as a laborer, HEO, unit steward. But while I was with the city of Toledo, I realized I needed a degree. I needed to go back to college. I had started a family, was married, I was content. But one part of me, as one of my mentors, Teresa Gable, she kept pushing me. I said, you know what? For me to get to this next level, I really, really need to go back to school. Where here I am, I'm in my 50s, I go back to school just to get my MBA. And I have my daughter's pictures right there because that was not just motivation for me, it was motivation for my daughter to say, hey, my old man went back to school. He was committed to get his MBA, which now it has helped them be committed to their careers. The one on the left, Brandy, she's in nursing. And the one on the right, my youngest, Kelsey, she's in law school. She just finished her first year at the University of Cincinnati. So that's my motivation, is to lead by example with family and throughout my career. Leadership Dayton. While I was the public works manager for the city of Dayton, the Dayton City of Commerce has what they call Leadership Dayton. It was a program that started in 1876, and it identified leaders in the city of the Dayton community. And their whole goal was to take these community leaders and help put them in the community, teach them about Dayton, but also to put them into the nonprofit arena to help nonprofit groups to strive. We learned the history of Dayton, the culture of Dayton, and after a 10-month experience, we were matched with a nonprofit group just to give them an opportunity to say, hey, we have been developed after 10 months. We are your leaders. We can sit on your board. Just helping growth. And as I talk about my career path and where I am at now, each one of these programs have helped allow me to become a better leader, but also to become a better person when I look at people. Because one thing as leaders, we have to understand, we have to be transparent. We have to be trustworthy. We have to be knowledgeable. But we most importantly, we got to have the skill set that our people understand that we have their best interests in mind, that our customers with the city of Toledo, I want our customers to know that we have their best interests in mind and we're providing the service that they really need. Because like everyone knows, to me, water is more important than the police and the fire. So I think we are like very important. Okay, so I've been talking about work. I've been talking about my career path. I talked about Ohio, certified public manager. I talked about leadership Dayton. But as leaders, if there's something that we always have to remember, we have to be able to decompress. You know, those of us that are in we all are in stressful jobs, and sometimes we forget to decompress. And when I say decompress, I mean right here. I was at one time a high school, college football and basketball official. Because I worked in a very stressful, seemed to be stressful career, I needed things that I could decompress from. So when I was on that football field or on that basketball court, I never thought about work. For 2 to 3 hours, my mind was focused away from work. And when you talk about wanting to be able to decompress and not think about the stress of work, there's nothing like having an outlet. Then the next picture are my 3 grandsons. That's my best decompression time, spending time with them. And then at the bottom picture, that's my fraternity. Those are my brothers. That's really another good time to just decompress, don't think about work, and just enjoy life. My fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, we are committed to a lot of community service work. So our current project, and I use these slides because we talk about leaders, diversity, we talk about what we do as far as work, but we have to remember as leaders, it's not just at work, it's in the community. It's about giving back. And I believe in giving back so much because there's people that always reach and pull me in and say, hey, Mark, you can do this. So with that in mind, and I even do it at work, I'm always looking to help someone to bring them up. So with my fraternity, we right now are mentoring a 3rd grade classroom at the Martin Luther King Academy. We are going to mentor these kids from the 3rd grade to the 7th grade. So for the next 3 years, they're going to see us every month. And we engage with them and we teach them leadership. We teach them uplift. We teach them everything to be young men. And we're committed to see them every month. And we're going to do programs in the summer. We did a bowling event with them. So as a leader, it always feels good to give back. And again, it kind of takes away the stresses of work. And another community event, I formed a basketball referee association in Columbus, Ohio. And we didn't just referee. We would once a month go to a homeless shelter and serve breakfast. Then the next picture at the bottom, the city of Toledo recently, we had an event where we had an employee appreciation day where the leaders of the city of Toledo, we had a breakfast, pancake, eggs, sausage, and we served our employees. Because, we really have to show that we really appreciate our employees. And it was a great turnout. Everybody had fun. But again, community service, giving back, just appreciate. In the picture above that one, when I moved back to Toledo, my grandson said, hey, we don't have a basketball coach. I need you. We need you. So I said, okay, what the heck? I just moved back to Toledo. Wasn't doing much. So I took on that challenge. And we ended up winning the championship for the CYO. So one of the things, I said I would have some motivation. When you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. That's where your power is. So when we talk about diversity, when we talk about equity, when we talk about inclusion, sometimes we can't allow ourselves to get caught up where they don't like me because I look like this. They don't like me because I'm a male. They don't like me because I'm a female. They don't like me because of I'm anything but what that person is. We have to realize sometimes the power is within us. So that if we see, hey, this is my career path, this is where I want to go. Do not allow others to stop you or to see where you want to go in your life, because you have the power. Leadership is a challenge. You have to seek opportunities to seek mentors, seek learning opportunities, such as conferences, webinars, anything that's coming just to increase your knowledge and your skill set. I remember my very first American Public Works conference. Last year, it was in New Orleans, Louisiana. I was excited. I got a chance to go to New Orleans. I paid for it. My agency paid for it. And I was excited, so I can't wait. So my first session that I went into, this is what it looked like. I walked in the room and there was no one that looked like me. So I kind of stood up there and I was like, wow, is this what it's about? You want to go into management, you won't see anyone that looks like you, but it also motivated me. So I left that session, I pulled out the manual or the schedule, and I started looking, and I saw that they had a diversity and inclusion committee meeting, which was like a half hour after that meeting. So me being the kind of sort of person I am, I walked into the meeting and I didn't know that it was a committee meeting of committee members that already belonged to that committee. So I walked in and they all kind of looked at me and I said, hey, they told me it's a committee meeting. But they said, hey, you can stay if you like. So as I sat down and I listened to them and I started getting engaged in the meeting, I started asking questions. When the meeting was over, I said, hey, would you like to join our committee? That was the start of my involvement of diversity, equity, and inclusion 10 to 15 years ago. And ever since then, I've always believed that we help one, we bring one, and we support one. So when I walked out of that room, I shared with everyone that I went to this diversity committee meeting, but also when I walked out of that room, I also said this. My goal after the conference was to lead a session, to lead a workshop, to become more involved instead of walking out of there complaining, just like, oh, this isn't fair. I say, hey, what do I do? Get involved. I joined that committee. Years later, I become the national chair, and I just stayed involved. So I always encourage anyone that is looking to advance their career, anyone that is looking to advance in whatever they do, always stay involved and be the solution. Don't be the problem, be the solution. Say, hey, how do I get here? How do I fix this? What's the next step? So when I accomplished that goal after that conference, the last APWA conference I attended and that I led, this is what it looked like. Okay, we know it was COVID, okay, but also the landscape of the rooms changed, where there was more women, there was more African Americans, it was just, the landscape was different. The landscape of leaders is starting to change. And I was just so excited, just good to see. So during my time with APWA, I was fortunate to write a couple of articles. And my articles both were based on diversity and equity and inclusion. My most recent article is the impact of unconscious bias in the public works workplace. We may not feel it, we may not see it, we may not need to do it, but in some way we all have a bias that we have to look at deep down on ourselves and say, hey, how do I improve how I communicate with people, how I treat people, and even how I look at people? This article, the reporter is a national magazine, international magazine, and this article kind of set a barnstorm across the country because I was contacted by a number of state agencies, a couple of national agencies, and wanted me to do a presentation on this particular topic of unconscious bias in the workplace and unconscious bias as far as leaders in the workplace. I really won't read one of the top, read this, but it's just, I'll share. Unconscious bias can be hard to address and may be hard to recognize in itself by the very nature. However, promoting a culture of respect for differences encourages diverse and inclusive ideas to be expressed, leading to change and innovation. It's critical in the workplace how organizations respond to employee needs with ultimately strengthen their service. So when we try to establish, we establish a workplace where biases are not as relevant, and we built that transparency, you'll be surprised to see how your workplace, the culture changes, the environment changes. The next article, my very first article, was the success of diversity and inclusion starts at the top. This was an interesting one because I used an elevator as the steps and the revolving of diversity in the workplace. And it starts at the top. So I said, hey, you know what? I'll try something. Technology. Okay. The fifth floor, you're in a building, say, let's go to the highest floor. That's going to be the fifth floor, the top of the agency. When you get on an elevator, you get to the fifth floor, you want to work for an agency, but really there's really no elevator door. It's an inclusive organization where diversity and inclusiveness are the core values of the organization. Before you get to that fifth floor, there's that fourth floor. Elevator door is fully open, defining the organization, working to create an environment of values, capitalizing diversity and ensuring for inclusiveness. As it made it to the fifth floor, it was that fourth floor that we're on our way. Sorry, you can't see that, but the third floor is partially open elevator door, awakening organization. Recognize that the recruiting efforts won't solve diversity issues or retention problems, but it's just how do we get there? How do we start? So the third floor is a halfway. Halfway, we're almost there. Then you have the second floor where it's a partially closed elevator. Compliance and tokenism, where we hired this person because we had to make our numbers. We hired this person because we really needed a woman over here. Agencies that practice with a partially closed elevator door is an agency that has a lot of turnover or a lot of people that are like, they're just alike. They talk alike, they walk alike, they think alike, but there's really no growth in that agency, no positive growth. And then the first floor, when you first walk in that building, that door is completely closed because they don't believe in diversity. We don't have that as much anymore. But that was the gist of that article and how organizations have to look at diversity in a positive way. Eagles don't take flight lessons from chickens, so you can't be afraid to step out. Also, you have to be a mindful leader. Mindful leaders is sitting at the table and looking at all your staff, and they all look just alike. When I say they all look just alike, we all are the same. We all operate the same. I'm not looking at individuals, that's a female, that's a male. I look at my team as we all look alike. We are all the same team. And collectively, we all have the same objective. So mindful leader, you always walk in that room going, okay, let's go team. Not like, oh, here we go. This person's going to be this way. This person's going this way. You come in with a positive frame of mind, say, hey, I'm just here to lead. We're going to get this accomplished, and I'm going to treat everybody the same. Okay, City of Toledo. Right now, the City of Toledo kind of went through the process, went through where I'm at, and now this is where I'm at today, City of Toledo. City of Toledo, we've embarked on two major projects. We started our lead line project, where we have a full lead service line replacement program that is really, really going to help our citizens. huge project, humongous task. It's more of providing that service to the city of Toledo residents. And also during this time, we are also doing an AMI project. Well, we'll be changing the style of meters we are using in our residential homes, and also changing out, taking ownership of our large commercial meters. So these tasks, the water distribution, we're busy. It's gonna be a humongous task. And as you see on the clip, Toledo, Ohio.gov, lead lines, you can go on there and you'll see a video of me explaining the lead service program. I have a couple of slides I want to share, and it's just my thought when I saw this. I said, I'm going to share this. And it's just a quick story, and it's in closing. She says, from my first steps on campus, I was determined to make my South African parents proud. And I seized the opportunity that they had left their country for. Just walking down the hallway of one of my brightest colleges in the country made it difficult. I graduated high school in Cape Town, South Africa, South Africa's biggest city, at the top of my class. I was student body vice president in a school where everyone looked like me, with kinky curls and dark eyes. My roommate Sierra and I met our floor mates, and as I looked around the room at the fair complexions, and I just look at what they're saying, oh my God, let's go talk to them. I felt lonely, alienated, and I'm literally the only person in the room with the hair texture and skin color. Lonely. I'm perceived it matters. She's 5'2", blue eyes, long lip blonde hair. She's standing behind me. My chair looks down at me. Can these stairs to our room get any further away? Is Sierra with me? I don't even know. I just want to leave. I'm introduced to my new term, the new term, act white. A few months in, we receive an email notification our exam grades are available. One by one, the pre-med among us logged into the reporting system, access our scores, and the following led one floor mate shared them aloud. One had 72, one had 76, one had 80. She had 94. Most others donned looks of approval or surprise, but one of my Canadian business students was notably shocked. I remember all the times my classmates looked shocked when I told them my grade point average. All of them, my friends, underestimated me when I said I would campaign for student government, and especially when I decided to pass social activities to study. Surpassed expectation placed upon them by institution friends and yourself comes achievement has no color. Kind of used, and I kind of went through it really quick, but I share that to say that we sometimes hold ourselves back to accomplishing all of our goals. And the last slide, how others see you is not important. It's how you see yourself means everything. So as leaders and as human beings, it's important to know who we are. So everyone, thank you for your time. Thank Ohio AWDA Diversity and Inclusion Committee for this opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, Mark, thank you so much for that really captivating presentation and story about your life's journey. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, for sharing some of these really, I guess, sensitive moments in your life, or what I would think are sensitive moments in your life. So if any of our guests have any questions, please do feel free to add them to the chat box. I know, well, Stacia asked if you could send the link to your articles. You shared quite a few of them. So if you don't mind sharing them with us, and we can share it with the rest of the group.